change can be initiated no matter who you are, where you are, and most importantly, no matter how old you are. We are known as Generation Z, and by the dictionary definition, that is individuals born between the years 1996 to 2010 that were born and raised on the internet. So although you aren't directly with me here today, I'd like you to think of 3 words or phrases that you would use to describe this generation. Okay, so perhaps it was constantly glued to our screens, apathetic, or even that we have short attention spans. How about we see it this way? Glued to our screens, social media can serve as a tool for activism, expression, and community building, potentially with teens 12,000 kilometers away. Apathetic? What about teens taking ownership of their own futures and are unafraid to speak up for what they care about? And lastly, short attention spans? You're not wrong, but this way we're able to focus on what really matters, communicate concisely, and most importantly, become impact-oriented rather than spreading ourselves too thin. Growing up in an era of technology has allowed us to see the world through a newfound lens of our own cultivation. A lens that is more innovative and a lens that is more diverse. And I want you to know how we can use this power as a vessel for immediate action and impactful change. So, as a member of our fellow Gen Z community, here's a little bit about myself. Everyone needs somewhere to start, and for me, it was in 2018 in Chiang Mai, Thailand. A 14-year-old Chloe stepped onto the school grounds of a special needs school called Thomas House, and this changed her in many more ways than she could have ever imagined. I was drawn in when Rosie, the founder of Thomas House, mentioned that the school had set out to provide equal educational opportunities for children with special needs in the area, because the next closest SEN school was 200 kilometers away. And I distinctly remember the tight-knit community at Thomas House, from the singing circles to the nurturing instructors, even down to parts of the school infrastructure that were catered to individual children. And the children's enthusiasm, their dedication, their desire to learn, despite their circumstances, have been ingrained in my mind to this day. And trust me when I say that this was only made possible with the determination of the staff and the founders at Thomas House to truly create an inclusive community. I'm a firm believer that we should take a step back and look at the bigger picture when it comes to impact. That we should strive for long-term, sustainable investment and involvement within a particular social issue, rather than focusing on one-off initiatives. So, at the end of my first trip to Chiang Mai, I remember staring out of the window, watching the views of the farmland and the school rush past me. And there, I vowed to continue the very promise that Thomas House had set out to achieve. The mission of providing equal educational opportunities to children that needed it. And these promises weren't going to just disappear once I returned to the comfort of my home. I wanted to provide students with special needs a platform of expression that many lacked, along with opportunities to help break down communication barriers. And so I started the YouMatter Organization, an organization to advocate, to champion, and to support students with special needs. And although this process did not come without its fair share of blunders and of challenges, we were able to provide our first workshops to students with special needs, support hundreds of families during this coronavirus pandemic, along with running the first YouMatter Week, raising almost $10,000 to support Thomas House financially. And as an organization, we were able to expand beyond Thomas House and into our local communities with our programs. But enough about me. I don't want this talk to be just about my experiences and my actions, but rather it's about every single one of you that has the power to create or to join platforms to make a change that is beyond yourselves. So, how do I encourage you to become inspired to start now, to start right after this talk? The first step would be to engage with contemporary social issues. Did you read something that really angers you, or you watch something that doesn't sit well with you? Well, pin down 1 or 2 issues that you care deeply about, and then dig deeper. find something that makes your heart pound and your blood boil. Because the point is, if you're frustrated about the inaction towards a particular issue within your community, don't be afraid to use your voice as a catalyst for action. So no matter how seemingly distant you may feel from the issue at hand, remember that almost anyone can guide you closer to the root of your cause. And I'm not only talking about certified professionals or renowned researchers, but it's the lady that you take the lift with every morning, or the people that you sit on the bus with every afternoon. There is no substitute for human connection and storytelling. Because as we all know, factual information can be easily accessible with a click of a button or just by entering a Google site. But the one thing a search engine cannot do for you is convey raw, unfiltered personal experiences that can only be derived through genuine conversation. So once you've had an issue identified that you care really deeply about, it is time to look for a mentor that is knowledgeable within this field. Because I kid you not, it is so easy to be completely blinded by your passion for the issue and ignore red flags that crop up, or even refuse to let go of ideas that you know might not be entirely feasible. And your mentor will be there to keep you accountable. And if you don't think you know what that feels like, I'm sure all of us know how grueling it is to cut down on word count. Like Stephen King once said, even if it breaks your heart, kill your darlings. Kill your darlings. Just like when you're cutting down words from that beloved essay of yours. It'll undoubtedly be painful to have to make these challenging decisions of letting go of your ideas for potential solutions. But it is very much necessary if you want to grow not only as an individual, but as a leader. But just like the role of a good editor, a good mentor will guide you, will prod you, and will ground you in reality when you cannot bring yourself to be realistic about your ideas. So, over the last few months, the YouMatter Organization partnered with a local social enterprise called Sensational Consultancy to provide care packages to individuals with special needs or disabilities during these times. And through connecting with the founder, Faride, I was able to better understand what sort of support we can provide during this coronavirus pandemic. And so ultimately, together, we were able to provide over 600 care packages with much needed educational and healthcare supplies to support families all around Hong Kong. So when you've decided on an issue that you're very passionate about, when you have found a mentor that is reliable, it is now time to connect with like-minded individuals. And you're in luck because it is now easier than ever to find enthusiastic people through social media. So to start off, direct message someone or send a respectful cold email to someone that is working on a similar project to you or working with an organization that champions a similar cause. And see where that leads you. But the important thing here is try not to see these interactions as conventional networking as it is. The term networking has seemed to gotten a pretty poor reputation of either being, number one, rigidly transactional, or that you're only in it for your own benefit. But if you want to build meaningful, sustained relationships, you need to shift your perspective and see these interactions as more of a way to share ideas and to feed off each other's passions. And this way, both sides will be able to benefit as a result. This year, my team and I reached out to student representatives from 4 different schools in Hong Kong to run the YouMatter Week in 2020. And by speaking to and recruiting these passionate, diverse individuals with varied interests, we were able to further bridge the divide between mainstream and SEN students, further reinforce our mission, along with providing an even more sustained stream of fundraising for Tom's House. And so, at the end of 2019, my journey continued back in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and a now 15-year-old Chloe stepped back onto the school grounds of the special needs school, Thomas House, from the year before. But this time, with a newfound understanding for the sort of challenges that students at Thomas House face, a heightened appreciation for all the work that the staff had put in to build this inclusive community, along with being able to build closer personal relationships with these students. After finding a cause that I care deeply about, connecting with mentors and recruiting a passionate team, along with building constructive relationships with equally determined individuals, I'm happy to say that we are on our way to fulfilling our initial mission of providing equal educational opportunities to children that need it. And with that, I recognize that there are so many pressing issues that need to be talked about or advocated for more. So, we're counting on you. Because you don't need to be Martin Luther King, Mandela, or Malala to make a sustainable change within your communities today. So, don't let your age be your barrier. Go forth, be idealistic, be daring, and make the change the world deserves. Thank you.